Back in about 2010, I had the pleasure, through a very tenuous family link, of meeting Arthur Jones. Now, Arthur spent the war years in Cairo working alongside the LRDG, and he was a really nice chap, and I got on well with him and visited him over in Suffolk a couple of times. No more, 4 times. Whether we believe his tales of Aka J, the behind the enemy lines spy, is up to you, but he certainly spun a good yarn and was very happy to share his wartime memories with me, which I've sort of cobbled together into this film using some existing stills that relate not to his life but to the Long Range Desert Group, plus interviews with Arthur. I hope you enjoy it. You were in the Long Range Desert Group in which years, do you think?
No, I wasn't in the Long Range.
You weren't?
No, I was under their jurisdiction from Cairo, but I was in the SS, which is the Secret Service. That's the parts that I may not be able to tell you, you see. No way could I travel myself across the desert and get to where I had to be behind enemy lines. So I used the Long Range Desert Group as transport, travelled with them under a code name of Aka J. So I will not be on their files, in their list. Also, it's the same with the SAS, because I was with them when they both started.
With David Sterling?
Yes, I was with them. I know all those people because I was in Cairo when they thought about it.
Wow.
And now the SAS we attacked, we were attacking Tobruk. We were going to attack an airfield. So they said, right, we will go in by parachute. I think there was 30 of them. It was the worst thing they ever did, the biggest mistake they ever made. Half of them got killed, half of them died in landing, you know, parachutes and things like that. Very, very few of them came back. So it was then suggested by the Long Range Desert Group that instead of them going in by parachute, we would take them in, wait for them, or even help them to get on these airfields, and then bring them back. Now we did that, and we only lost 2. Now I was only an observer, so I was with them, but I was, to them, the chaps who spoke to me, I was Aka J.
Yeah.
Aka J. And I had no things up here, no badges of rank. Had I been caught behind enemy lines with a German cap and uniform on, I would have been sent direct to Germany to be interrogated by the Gestapo. Now, if they caught you with no rank whatsoever, you were then a prisoner of war, so you went into a cage. So they hated, obviously they hated the Long Range Desert Group.
Yes.
And the SAS. And Rommel, I would say this, Rommel was the finest admiral, finest commander out there. He was so fair. If you got captured by Rommel and the Africa Corps, he would give you water. They would take nothing of you except information. If you had a watch, you stayed with the watch. But if you got captured by the Italians, which were there with Rommel, they would strip you, everything you got, and chuck you out on the desert, even without water.
Where did you go from Tobruk then? Did you go south into the desert and then east to Cairo?
When we advanced, when we went behind enemy lines, obviously we had to go beyond that as far up towards Tunis, obviously.
Yes.
And we obviously had to cross the soft sand, you know, where...
Yes, the sunset.
Nobody'd ever been over it before. When we went on that, obviously it was a case of nobody'd been, so nobody knew, there was no maps.
No.
And unfortunately, I actually saw one of the vehicles lost completely, quicksands.
Oh,
the vehicle was gone. I would say the vehicle was gone within 5 minutes.
Sunk into the sun?
The whole vehicle. We got the chaps out, the 2 chaps on board, it was safe. But our food in those days was an army biscuit that size, about that thick, and a tin of corned beef. I was eating corned beef out of a wooden box that had an army stamp on it, 1914-18.
Yeah.
Now what about that?
Oh.
And when you open that corned beef, it was perfect.
When you camped out in the desert then, what?
There was no such thing as camping out in the
No.
desert. You had a ground sheet, 2 ground sheets and 2 blankets
Yeah.
in your pack. And you put a ground sheet down, blanket, your small kit for a pillow.
Yeah.
You put a blanket over you and a ground sheet over that in the sand.
Yeah.
There was nowhere to kit. When I had a vehicle, when I managed to get hold of a 15 underweight truck,
Yeah.
you could probably lay up the side of it, you see, because it's all got the gear in.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
either the gear or you goes in. Well, the gear goes in, you don't. Yeah, I can remember one night we pulled up on the Mediterranean just above Benghazi, and I got down. The sea was probably from here to that curtain, you know, you was on the beach, and I was just going to go to sleep, and I thought, oh God, rain, we haven't had rain for years, and it's belting down, and I put my hand out and it was dry. What it was the land crab, the sea crabs had come in and they were all walking over me. They didn't hurt me, but it was horrible feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, a convoy of 30 vehicles had gone into the desert and got lost.
From Cairo, in Egypt.
Saudi.
No, in
Saudi.
Libya.
In Libya.
In the real desert.
Yeah.
So, I think out of the 30, they lost 4. The rest of them got onto the main road between Benghazi and Tobruk, got back to there. And I said to him, you seem to have problems. More than problems, boy, he said. I took this convoy and I must have gone off on the wrong track because we ran into a sandstorm. Now I find I've lost 4 vehicles and that's 3 days ago. Can you lend me a vehicle? What are you going to do? Go out and look for them. So I said, anybody with the 4 desert experience? No, not as a sergeant, he says, and a fitter, because the last truck was a repair van. So I said, so you don't know where, or they won't know that? No, he said, they won't. He said, and after 3 days, they'll be in a hell of a state because they're not used to it.
Yeah.
I went out and I thought, right, where shall I try first? I'll try his reference he's got first, see if I can find a track going back. Well, I tried his reference, but obviously the sandstorm had obliterated all these vehicle marks.
Yeah.
So I pressed on for a day and I stopped the night and I kept on the reference for 2 days, and on the 3rd day, right in the desert, and I saw these 4 trucks, and when I got near to them, there was 4 trucks, but they were steel, you see. So I eventually got to them, and they was, the state they was in. Obviously, on the desert you can't panic, but they'd all panicked. And the sergeant had gone really bomb happy, you know. He was screaming and hollering, why don't they fight us, scream. So I said to him, what are you doing about the sergeant? Oh, we can't. I said, get him in one of the trucks and strap his hands to the side. He's going to hurt himself or you. Do those vehicles all contain petrol? Well, we're towing the last one. So I said, what the bloody hell are you towing an empty vehicle for? Set fire to it. Smash it up and set fire to it. Oh, you can't? Yes, you can. I said, get the stuff out the last vehicle into the breakdown vehicle. There's 5 of you and me, that's 6 of us. I want you to try and start these last 3 vehicles and follow me. A 3-ton truck, a couple of 15 underweights and a breakdown vehicle, you see. So one of the vehicles we left behind, so that left 3 vehicles and the men. So we started, so I got the sun compass going and I thought, well, the Med must be over there. We must be probably about 400 miles from the Med. let's try Benghazi, because if we retreated, we won't be far beyond Benghazi. And that's where I've come from with your unit. We went for the whole day and stopped. What we're stopping for? I said, well, you can't go in the night. I said, you can't even use a compass. What you talking about? So we stopped, and they were getting panicky. So one of them said to the others, what are we following him for? He don't know where he's going. Forget, don't follow me. I'm going in the morning. You get home. Oh no, don't. Panic again, see, they don't think.
Yeah.
Anyway, we settled it all by the morning that we'd leave another truck behind, because we were then using petrol. We only ended up with their 2 trucks of mine. It took us 2.5 days to get near to Benghazi. I worked it out that if another day's run and we'd be in Benghazi. And luckily, on the 3rd day, right in the distance, I saw vehicles, you know, about that size vehicles.
Yeah.
Now, I had to make a decision then. Was that Jerry or was that British? So I said to them, now look, I can't tell from here what they are. Now, what do you want to do? If we go now and it's Jerry, we'll be taken prisoners of war. Or we'll be shot before we get there. Or if the other way, you're back in Britain. So actually we did toss a coin, you know, because I wasn't sure. I wasn't close enough to tell whether it was Jerry. So it came up, right, take the right hand look. So we took it, and luckily we ran into British lines. We ran into the 51st Island Division.
Gosh.
And they knew where their unit was.
Yeah.
So we got back to the unit. We'd been away, must have been away nearly a week.
Yeah.
But we used that's where I got that.
That's why you got your mention in dispatches.
Yeah, I didn't know I got it. Nobody told me. It just came through, you know.
Yeah, well, they probably would have died out there.
They would have done, yeah. They would have died, yeah.